Okay, while you are painting, now I know one of the things that I said, and if I haven't communicated this enough, I can say it again, is that you need to limit your palette. In this case, the student chose reds and greens, which are complementary colors. And I also said that you weren't supposed to repeat colors. You're like, how in the world can I not repeat colors, but just keep it to two different hues? Well, the trick here is lots of mixing, okay? So if you look here, this color right here is a green. So is this color. So is these colors. You might think, well, did he paint black in here? He did not paint black. He only painted green and white and black and maybe gray, and the same with the background. In fact, there's no super light color in the background. There's no super dark color in the background, which makes the face stand out, which makes this painting even better. So what I need you to do, and here's the thing that I get a lot from students, is they're like, all right, so if I chose to do the hue of red, and I go to paint, and I mix red with white, and then I mix red with black, and then I'm allowed to use red once, by itself, then what else can I do? And I should say this, and this student didn't do it, but gray is part, and black and white are part of everybody's hue. Now be careful where you put that black and where you put that white, and where you put the grays, but they are part of every hue. All right. So like I said, when you're mixing paints, always start with the weakest color. In this case, I'm going to do white. And I'm just going to take my big brush. Now I used actually a little bigger brush than you have for demonstration reasons, but you could do about the same thing. Maybe scoop out 5 things of white, all right? And I'm going to scoop out 5 things of white. I'm going to wipe off my brush. Probably from the light to the dark, you can light it. If I was going from red to white, I'd definitely take it, put it in my water, and clean it out in my water. But I'm going to watch how strong red is. Can you see? Let me do that again. I have just a dot of red on that brush, just a dot of red. And when I mix this in here, this is part of the hue of red. You're definitely going to call this pink. It is so different from red that we give it a different name, but theoretically, this is still a red. So that could be something that I paint on my, can you see it? Can you see that? Barely. You can barely see that, but that's good. You should do one of your shapes that color. And then I'm going to add maybe another dip like that and make it just a little bit clearer to see. And now I have 2 like that. And then I'm going to add just a little bit more of red. And as I get closer to red, I'm actually going to mix more red in there at a time. That one looks really close, Mr. Lane. So maybe we need a little more red in there to make that stand out. So sometimes, if you can't see much of a difference, you might have to go over a color. All right, so that's a little darker. And now I'm going to do almost a scoop of red, like this. And mix it in there really good. Go ahead and, oh, look at that color. That is nice, okay? Paint that one on there. I'm going to dry off with my brush. I'm going to get a little water in it. If you do the water thing, make sure you dry it off, because if you don't, you're going to make your paint too watery, and then that's going to affect the way you can paint. It doesn't look as solid, doesn't look as nice. Another one of the things that some of my students on the Wall of Fame do is they are really good about cleaning those brushes off, okay? Another scoop. What if I take red now and add white? I know you just said do the weakest one first, y'all. That's true. But being creative. Here's the thing. I'm being creative in the way that I'm mixing. That's the thing that I think that some students don't get. Oh, I should have did red straight. So I can do red here with just a little bit of white. And I can mix this and this together to get the in-between color. See if I can, there we go. And then I'm going to go straight red. I'm allowed to do this time. You weren't allowed on your circle painting to go straight red, but here's straight red. Now I can do black. That's blue. I can do black. And this case, I'm going to start with the red. I'm going to do several scoops of red. And then I'm going to wash my brush off and make sure that I dry it. I don't always show the students that I'm drying it, or they don't always get it. Just a little tip of black. Will that change my red? Well, actually, it changed it quite a bit. In fact, I'm going to put that one down here. This might need 2 coats. It's really thin. I hate these thin paints. I had to get cheaper paint than I normally do. I like paint that's just really solid. Let me add some red to that and see if I can get closer to that red up there. That's better. And so I have red, and let's try more red there, and try a whole scoop of black. Now on my screen, this is going to look almost pure black, and this is where I like this for you to see it in real life. But I'm going to do a pure black one right here, so you can see the difference. So now I've got, can you see the difference in those? Yeah. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So I got 12 colors. You're almost, if this is your painting, you're probably halfway done with your painting at this point, maybe a quarter, with a third, I don't know. But now I can mix some of these together. So what would happen if I mix this and a little bit of this? I'm going to get a color that's a bit grayer, okay? So that might be this dark, but it's less intense. So then I could add a little more white to this, and I'm being creative. Now I'm doing black. I'm still staying inside the hue, you know, that square that had 10,000 different colors on it. I'm still inside of that. I'm just now getting a lot more. What would happen if I add just a little more black to that, you know, or maybe straight black? And it's starting to look more and more gray, okay? But this is a warm gray, right? Let me give you a pure gray with no red in it at all. Are we allowed to do that? Sure. Okay. So here is, man, next to this red, it almost looks blue, doesn't it? Probably looks blue on the screen, but that's a gray. So this gray is different from that warm gray, and those could look very nice together. The grays are actually more interesting than these intense colors. If you take red and you just do that straight red, that's cool, but if the entire painting is that bright, then it's almost too much. If anything, if I had to complain about this painting, and you know how much I love it, I think it could use more gray. I mean, grays, or it could be interesting if it had more grays. I should say that. It'd be a different type of painting if it had that. So maybe I'm going to try out, take any one of these colors, and I'm just going to mix maybe more white into it. Add a little pink and see what happens. And that might go up here. It might be a little different than the other ones. That's a little darker than that one. What would happen if I took a lot of white and just a little bit of this gray and maybe a touch of red? Almost really get white in your red. See, you should. Ooh, that's bad. Bad example, Mr. Lane. Okay. I'm trying to go quick for you guys. I normally wouldn't pollute my colors that way. You know, this is a nice gray up here. This could go really nicely into the painting, right? So go ahead and be creative in the way that you color and stay inside your hue. So if you pick 2 hues or 3 hues, stay inside those hues by being creative in the way that you make.